All right, so let's start. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all awake, both in the room. Are you awake, more or less? And remotely from all over the world. Hello. Maybe it's late night for you, or maybe I'm already too boring. No, I'm joking. Anyway, welcome to the StrepHit kickoff seminar. My name is Marco Fossati, and my nickname is HJ Fox for fellow Wikimedians. I'm a researcher in natural language processing in the data and knowledge management unit in Fondazione Bruno Kessler, Trento, Italy. And I don't want to dive into the details that motivated the name, StrepHit. You can always look up the project page if you want. And I just want you to know that there is an unpleasant streptococcus hitting the content quality of a certain Wikimedia project. And today I will present the cure. But before starting, today is a special day. So let's clap our hands because Wikipedia is 15. Happy birthday, teenage Wikipedia. We will continue to celebrate the birthday tonight, later at 6:30 p.m. In the social store in Via Calepina, 10, downtown Trento. And you can meet the local Wikimedians there. So, what is IEG? IEG is an acronym that stands for Individual Engagement Grants, and it's a program led by the Wikimedia Foundation to financially support prospective proposals coming from Wikimedians. Projects are usually time-intensive, 6 months in general, and focus on experimental improvements for the Wikimedia movement. And with StrepHit, I have won the largest grant of the 2015 Round 2 call. StrepHit targets a young Wikimedia project, namely Wikidata, which is the free knowledge base that anyone can edit. Wikidata has a very ambitious objective to become the central repository of Wikimedia structured data and to feed all other sister projects with them. So, who is in the StrepHit core team? Here you can see the core members, and let me spend a few words about them. So, of course, there's myself, the project leader, on the left. I strongly advocate for applied research. As I said, I'm a researcher in natural language processing. And for me, research is something that should benefit every day, everyone's life. So that's also why I've been collaborating in the past with several startups in Canada, France, and Italy. And in the past, I have been investigating other fields as well, such as data integration, recommender systems, and crowdsourcing techniques. Today, besides Wikimedia, I am a member of the board of trustees of the DBpedia Association, founder and representative of its Italian chapter. I have been an organization administrator for the Google Summer of Code program under the DBpedia umbrella. And Emilio Dorigatti will be my assistant. We met because he was selected to be my student at the last Google Summer of Code, and I fell in love with, not with him, but with his code, because I've never seen such a Python ninja. He is currently enrolled in a bachelor degree in computer science here at the University of Trento, and nothing better for him, I think, to work on StrepHit for his thesis. Claudio Giuliano will be our scientific advisor. Claudio is a researcher with more than 16 years experience in natural language processing and machine learning. He is currently head of the Future Media unit at Fondazione Bruno Kessler, focusing on applied research to meet industry needs. And below, you can see the list of volunteers who have expressed their interest in the project page, and they're willing to join the project, and you can see their wiki usernames in alphabetical order. All right, so what is StrepHit? In a few words, It's a natural language processing pipeline that harvests structured data from raw text and produces Wikidata content with references. It is out of scope for this seminar to provide specific technical details, because I want to make sure that everybody here in the audience can understand. Of course, the implementation plan is publicly available in the project page, and you can check it out for those interested. Okay, so there's StrepHit. There's a funded IEG project, but why are we doing all this? Mainly for 3 reasons. Let's first zoom out and imagine a picture of the whole Wikimedia worldwide community and projects, like a picture of our planet from a satellite. Here we are trying to address a critical issue that may affect all the Wikimedia projects in the future, and I will explain this in the next 2 slides. Zooming in, we want to follow, we'd love to follow a vision that involves Wikidata itself. And finally, we want to tackle a specific technical problem affecting Wikidata. The critical issue is a known one and should answer the following question. How reliable is the content across Wikimedia projects? The reliability concern actually could be generalized to almost any information source or web as a whole, for instance. But anyway, we focus on Wikimedia projects, and we argue that content becomes reliable when the process of adding it is trusted by its users. So this is pretty much mature in Wikipedia, for instance, but what about Wikidata? What if Wikidata becomes the central data repository that feeds all the sister projects, but its content is not trustworthy? Well, with StrepHit, we propose a novel automatic process that generates trust and reliability over Wikidata content. And in this way, we can also alleviate a lot the burden of manual curation, which is behind the whole process. In this way, we can make a step towards the vision of Wikidata as not only as a central hub for Wikimedia projects, but also in general as a central open data hub. In this way, third-party organizations can interlink or directly donate their data to Wikidata. So you can see on the left, I don't know, some third-party organizations like governmental ones or research ones, which are trying to link to Wikidata, and the knowledge base itself will serve as a reference access point for the user community. Hence, data consumers such as journalists, digital libraries, software developers, or web users in general can pool the data to satisfy their information needs, such as for writing articles or enriching a catalog or building an application or whatever. And here is the technical problem in Wikidata. To increase the trustworthiness of its content, it should be validated against third-party resources. And this boils down to the addition of references to external sources, which should be authoritative, because otherwise they could just worsen the whole trust loop. Currently, plenty of data in Wikidata has no references at all, or just states that that specific piece of data was imported from Wikipedia. So we are somehow in a bubble. And we argue that there is a need for datasets that ensure at least one reference from the non-wiki world for each piece of data. All right, so far we have talked about what we do and why, and now let's see how StrepHit works. In a nutshell, given as input a corpus, namely a collection of documents harvested from a carefully selected set of primary sources, we ran the StrepHit natural language processing pipeline to output a structured dataset according to the Wikidata data model. This dataset will fulfill two purposes mainly. So either to authenticate existing content or to propose novel one. And in both cases, this will be achieved through references to the input sources. So basically in form of reference URL, so a link. The techniques that we plan to apply are as follows. First, we analyze the input corpus to derive the key lexicon. In other words, we want to understand the content that can be extracted and mapped to Wikidata. Second, we extract the relations that hold between entities in the corpus, thus getting structured data out of it. So relation extraction is a branch of information extraction in the research area. We achieve this by applying the frame semantics linguistic theory to a machine learning task. Finally, we leverage the machine learned model to perform a massive frame extraction over the input corpus and to produce the output dataset. The project work package is roughly broken into the following tasks. The first step, which is a crucial one, involves a careful selection of the primary sources. So I call the primary sources the set of sources which are reliable, considered reliable. So this is an essential part for two reasons. Sources must not only be reliable to enable the trust loop I mentioned before, but they will also drive the implementation of the other tasks. Second, we harvest the corpus based on the set of the primary sources and we analyze it. A suitable frame repository must then be chosen and used as input to build the training set of the machine learning model. This training set trains an automatic classifier that will perform massive frame extraction over the input corpus. And finally, the extraction results are mapped to the Wikidata data model to produce the output dataset. Okay, but we have a dataset, but where does this dataset go? Recently, Google has developed the so-called primary sources tool for Wikidata, which is intended as a platform to standardize the flow for data donations. This ensures that any candidate dataset gets first validated by the user community instead of being inserted on the fly, and which may cause more harm than benefit maybe. And this tool actually was first conceived by Google to facilitate the eventual migration of a free base, which is a knowledge base that was acquired by Google and most recently shut down to the public. And in this slide, you can see a screenshot of the primary sources tool user interface, which is activated in Roberto Baggio's soccer player Wikidata page. Automatic suggestions are displayed in a blue black background. And basically, these blue boxes can be either approved or rejected by editors through some links on the right. We have already produced the soccer dataset. So this is data coming from the StrepHit pipeline, which is already in this kind of data flow. And it serves basically as a proof of work to demonstrate the feasibility of the project. Okay, very good. Now I would like to focus on the first step of the project, which is vital, as I said, and I really need the help of the audience to decide on the best domain of knowledge and to select the most reliable primary sources. Thanks to a precious discussion with the Italian Wikimedian Nemo, I would like to propose 3 candidate domains that may serve as a good use case for the implementation of StrepHit, namely biographies, companies, and biomedical literature. So let me explain why. First, biographies benefit from large amounts of existing data in Wikidata. The coverage is likely to be very broad. It is potentially easy to find good sources. As a side note, from a technical perspective, this is also a perfect fit for the current StrepHit prototype. I'd like to draw the attention of people in the audience who may work in libraries, for instance, and please let me know your thoughts. We will have a small discussion time after the presentation. The second domain is about companies, which we assume to be a relatively biased domain. Because in most cases, the company edits the page on the company itself. So this produces partial content and so-called point of view content, which is more similar to an ad rather than a neutral piece of information. This means low quality data. So this is a domain that can be easily improved, in my opinion. And last but not least, the biomedical domain has already a great primary source, which is PubMed, which is a huge collection of scientific papers. Also, it could serve as a very good proof of usage because PubMed is an open access corpus, and running StrepHit over it and migrating the data into Wikidata would be a very good proof of usage for them. On the other hand, from a technical point of view, the implementation may be much more challenging. All right, so that's all. Now it's time for an open discussion, and everybody can feel free to add questions, ideas, comments, suggestions, whatever you want, by following the link on this red box, which is a notepad that can be edited by anyone. And I would especially appreciate if you could suggest the primary sources that you think are reliable. Thanks. Okay, now we are just like 10 minutes discussion if you want, and I would like to ask the first question to the audience. So which domain would you go for? So raise your hands for biographies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not bad. What about companies? No, you cannot vote twice. Biomedical? Okay, thanks. Do you have any questions? Let's see the Etherpad first. Just a second. Okay.
Why did you decide to have a biomedical domain? Because PubMed is being extracted, manipulated, and so on a lot of research, no? And there are related knowledge bases, and it's very domain specific. So I don't get the point to have that information in a general purpose resource like Wikipedia.
Actually, it's just because a good primary source is already there. So this is the main point, I think. It came out from a discussion with Nemo, and he is deeply involved in the Wikimedia movement, and I think he's quite knowledgeable about these kind of things, and maybe the biomedical data can be of interest for lots of users as well. But yes, I mean, you are right in saying that there is a lot of research behind it. And I'm not aware of any effort that has tried to put the PubMed data into Wikidata so far. But anyway, the most important thing is the primary source, because I don't want to spend too much time in the selection of these sources. If there is something that is already there and that can be used, it would be great. But I'm still open. This is the very first phase. So thanks. Any other questions? Oh yeah, the first language will be in English. The prototype, actually, the dataset, the soccer dataset, was implemented in Italian, and yeah, but English is the first one, and then we'll see if we can implement some other ones. I mean, I personally can implement Spanish, French, as well. I would like to draw to attract some natural language processing developers from other languages as well, but it is for long term. It's not in scope of the project. Thanks. Anyone else? Can you repeat, please?
So you say that working on the biomedical domain is more challenging than working on the others domain that you presented. So can you explain better why it's like this?
I'm just assuming, it's just an assumption. I have not scanned through the PubMed corpus, which is huge, by the way, so it is difficult to get a glimpse manually. We should really run some more analysis to get more information. But in general, the prototype, which is already uploaded, focuses on biographies of soccer players. So we should move this kind of prototype to scale up to other, to different, how can I say, language usage.
Okay, I have, well, one question, and maybe I can add a little comment to the previous question, because I have some experience with medical databases such as PubMed. So one of the aspects that make the, I would say, the whole pipeline challenging is, first of all, a modeling problem, because biology and everything involving biology, I mean, formalizing knowledge about biology is always very challenging because of different things to be taken into account, different ideas, different existing models. Plus, I would expect that being this an NLP pipeline, there will be highly specialized content and highly specialized even frames, I would say, that need to be developed, and that will not be an easy task unless you're really a practitioner. Which leads me to the next questions. Next question: how will you extract or define frames and the related frame semantics?
Good point. The frames originate from the corpus analysis module. In the corpus analysis, during the corpus analysis, we try to extract the, let's say, most meaningful lexical units. So the most meaningful words that express something that we would like to extract from the frame semantics perspective. So the lexical units that we find in the corpus will serve as trigger for the frames. Now I don't want to dive into the details of the frame semantics, but let's just say that a lexical unit can trigger more frames, and the frame is an event that embeds a number of participants in text.
And so
yeah, this can be one. This is one approach, the approach that I foresee. But we can also do the opposite. I mean, we could try to see which are the most relevant properties in Wikidata, and then drive this for the selection of the corpus. It's a completely different way. This is not. This came out from a last conversation with Nemo, and that could be a good idea. This is not planned.
I guess this will also be related to the domains which will be selected. So the
Yeah.
definition of frames and what to look for, what verbs maybe to look for, and so on.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. Because the main frame repository is FrameNet, and it's a general purpose lexical database. And it is not likely to fit into specific domains. I mean, it could, but we have to see. For the soccer domain, we had to adapt a lot the frame definitions. There was also another frame repository which was specific to the soccer domain, which is called the Kictionary, which was too specific. So we had to combine the two models. And also, actually, Wiktionary could be a very good source for, in some way, for frames. But this is, I think, for long term. There is a proposal to transform Wiktionary into the Wikidata data model. You know, basically, a Wikidata item can also be translated into a frame somehow, because it's yeah, let's say a relation that hold between a subject and a number of objects. So in some way you can see that as a frame, but this is just speculation. It's not in scope. Thanks. Any other questions? Let's see if somebody has written something in the Etherpad. All right. I think that the biomedical domain can be the most useful domain from where to gather information, and biomedical information is the most useful for the public. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, but I agree. I agree, because biomedical information can be crucial for people who read. I mean, as a Wikipedia user, it happened to me to, I don't know, find some information about some, I don't know, disease or something like very basic information, just to get a better acquaintance of the domain. So yeah, it may be very useful in general. For this could be a really applied research, right? So it could really help people. Yeah, I agree. But I don't know, man. Biographies is another thing, is completely different, and companies as well. So we will have to choose. Okay. Another question? Go ahead.
Think you can actually improve the quality? I mean, what that can improve the
we should just harvest some third-party data about companies. This could give a more neutral, at least, point of view. I don't know. You can go. I don't know. I'm thinking of tech startups. You go to TechCrunch, and there are lots of information there. Maybe it's ad-prone as well, but it's written by somewhere, by a third party. You know, it's not like the CEO of the startup that writes the article about the startup. It's not the same thing. Okay, if there are no more questions, we can finish the end. Thanks everyone for coming, and thank you.